Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of Fca Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Daily news and updates for 9th April 2025. Credit growth for micro and small businesses has decelerated while medium-sized firms experienced a rise. Loan disbursements have moderated in 2024, with businesses increasingly relying on short-term working capital loans. Despite this, a significant portion of MSMEs have resumed operations post-pandemic, demonstrating strong growth momentum. Bulge-bracket private equity funds are increasingly investing in single specialty Indian hospital chains that present a robust growth potential in emerging consumer centers, significantly widening the addressable market beyond their traditional metropolitan bailiwicks. Non-metro locations such as Lucknow, Vizag, Jaipur, Cochin, Siliguri, Guwahati, Bhubaneswar and Patna, private equity investors believe hold great growth potential in healthcare, in lockstep with an increasingly affordability quotient in tier 2 or 3 towns and a greater availability of qualified doctors and specialists. The Goods and Services Tax Network has issued an advisory to inform that effective from 1st June 2025, the invoice reporting portal would treat invoice and document numbers as case insensitive for the purpose of invoice reference number generation. To ensure consistency and avoid duplication, invoice numbers reported in any format would be automatically converted to uppercase before IRN generation. This change is in line with the treatment of invoice numbers in Form GSTR1, wherein such numbers are already considered case insensitive. MCA has notified draft Companies Compromises, Arrangements and Amalgamations Amendment Rules 2025. The MCA has now proposed to expand the scope of fast-track mergers to include unlisted companies with reasonable debt exposure and no default in repayment of borrowings, as well as a holding company and its unlisted subsidiary companies. Also, mergers of foreign companies with Indian companies are proposed to be included under a fast-track mechanism. Comments on the draft rules may be submitted by May 5, 2025. The brutal market sell-off triggered by US recession fears has cast doubt over the initial public offerings of LG Electronics India and Ather Energy, both of which were slated to debut later this month. Both companies are now considering a delay following a swift shift in the market sentiment amid rising global trade tensions. Home appliance major LG's IPO is estimated at Rs 15,000 crore, making it India's fifth largest, while Ather, an electric scooter maker, has pegged its offer at Rs 4,000 crore. Even as countries like Vietnam and Taiwan signal a willingness to reduce import duties to counter new reciprocal tariffs announced by the US, analysts say India remains better placed to safeguard and potentially grow its contract manufacturing base in smartphones and electronics. The key reason for the same being that India not only faces a lower reciprocal tariff rate under the US framework at 26%, compared to Vietnam's 46% and Taiwan's 36%, but it also holds an advantage due to its relatively modest trade surplus with the US. At around $46 billion, the US trade deficit with India is significantly lower than it has with other countries like China, which is at $295.4 billion, Vietnam, which is at $123.5 billion, and Taiwan, which is at $73.9 billion. This gives India more room to maneuver in trade talks. This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.